What's up, everyone? Happy New Year still. It's January 2nd. This is day 2. Path to real change. If you're here, this can hopefully be evergreen in terms of day 1, day 2, day 3. I am very focused on, from the ground up, finding a way to find real change, like deep change. So, and I know how hard it is. Gonna go over it again. I'm 46. I've tried and failed a lot with real change. So let's get into it. Let's just keep going. This is really unedited or very minimally edited. The point here is to do this from the ground up and to provide some really good stuff in here. So if you can, stick with me on this. All right, let's go. What I did from yesterday, I made a ton of notes all over this board. It looked like a crazy person board. But so I came in today and consolidated all the things. So let's just go over this again, what we came up with yesterday, and let's refine. Path to real change. Choose your why, your belief, your reason for being. Spend the time with this. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I think this is definitely worth it because it's clear that the deeper you can get with this, your belief, your reason for being, your purpose or a feeling of purpose or choice, just choosing something. And you're making a choice no matter what, so you might as well put some effort, some energy, some thought, and it's part of the core. It's part of the foundation. You are going to make a choice no matter what. Like if you don't believe in anything, or if you don't, I'm not saying you need a religion or you need a philosophy or you need, it can be whatever you want it to be to make you feel like you've made some choice. Whether it's true or not that you're actually making a choice or not, it doesn't matter. It's that you are trying to choose. Because if you decide you don't want to make a choice or you don't want, that's a choice. You can't get around it. By being alive, you can't get around it. Even choosing to defy is the world or the universe for making you, it's like, that's still a choice. So choose that then. Write it down and let it fuel you. That's all I'm saying, is that we got to spend this time. Okay, so choose your why, your belief, your reason for being. This should fuel everything. So we'll get to that when we get through all this. It'll be the first step to dive in, and I'll walk you through what I'm choosing. But every person is going to have to do that on their own. That leads us to then asking, what do you want that ties in to that belief? It's got to match. It's got to align. So what do you want? Do you want to be physically fit? Do you want to be mentally sharp? Do you want to make a certain amount of money? Do you want certain kinds of relationships? Do you want to impact the world in a certain kind of way? What do you want that ties in to your reason for being, your belief, your why? Okay, and then what do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be? So I think that this is a question we're going to have to spend time on too, because you can get what you want. You can define your why, your beliefs, but how you get there and what kind of person you are is also a question you got to ask yourself, and things that you need to continually look at and gauge. You can make a whole lot of money, and you can do it in a way that pushes other people down as you go and basically conquers, or you can do it in a way where you're growing others. And you could do it somewhere in the middle, You got to ask yourself all these questions. How do you want, what kind of character do you want? What kind of, and this should also tie in to your belief. If you decide, your overall belief about this universe and what it is going to make it a lot easier for you to answer these questions. But it's still important for us to hit. So we'll be hitting that when we get to it. And then what systems, rules, habits, actions are we setting up that we can track? Because you won't be able to remember them all. If you just go at this, you're gonna go down paths and you're gonna get lost in them. So we gotta set up systems. And there's gonna have to be trial and error of systems. Because we're not gonna just know the best way right off the bat. So the system that we build has gotta make room for refinement. Some notes that we had yesterday: consistency. As most people know, whether they can implement it or not, that consistency is key. Showing up day in and day out. This is day 2, right? Can we get here tomorrow? I'm telling you, even today, I started to feel the resistance. You know, this is January 2nd, it's a Friday, so people are back in the office, we're back at work, I'm back at my business, I've got things to do, it's already midday. I could get distracted at any moment. That's when I got here, I was like, let's go, we gotta have urgency. This is something that all these traits we're gonna talk about too, when you need them, because in this stage, for us to get through the first week, it's gonna be incredibly difficult. Anything could hit us today, tomorrow, that knocks our days out of, knocks our chain out of the water, all right? So somehow, that is one of the fucking hardest things, is keeping that urgency, understanding that you gotta go, have the energy to go as long as you can in the beginning to get into that habit zone. We talked a lot about energy because you've gotta find the fuel that gives you the energy to get through all these things that are really important. There's a lot of effort involved in this. You can't, you know, if you really want to do this right, if we want to build these foundations right, you really want to change, you want to do this, finally, you gotta put the effort in, and that effort takes masses of energy. So we're gonna figure this out. And it may be, once, I can't wait to start getting to this marker of like systems, rules, habits, actions, because then we'll start to be able to go, all right, we got to hit these daily, but let's start really small. Let's like sneak our way in almost. Let's wean our way in. Because if you've been through this before like I have, you know we can get all excited, and we talked about this yesterday, and make all these lists and all these things. It's like, you know, running an ultra marathon, not even a marathon. It's like running a fucking ultra marathon with no training. Can you even imagine? Can you even fathom doing that? Maybe you get to a marathon, you're gonna kill yourself. You're gonna be out for weeks, if not months. You're gonna have torn something, you know, pulled something, broken something. Like something will break. We're smarter than that, right? So we're gonna figure this out. It's not like we can't list everything out. We can't chip away like super slowly. We got time. We just need consistency. So reflection metrics are super important. You know, like we started with building, with asking ourselves, we called it the gauge yesterday, right? Happy with life's path. I added one that we didn't put on here yesterday, operating at full potential. So to finish my point, like reflection and building in with our system, which we'll get into a lot of detail and we'll try something. I alluded to this a little bit yesterday, but I think it's gonna be something like, once we start building these systems, there's gonna be a lot there. I don't know if you're like me, but I have like 40 some odd major things in my life that I want to improve. And, you know, so to write them all out, and then to sort of gauge and reflect day by day, but, you know, we'll have to give ourselves a time period, maybe it's 2 weeks, where, you know, you're building a routine or systems that you got to get through the 2 weeks. And then we can reflect and look back and see how did this go, the order with which, I set some of these habits up. This was too much, we got to bring it back a little, or we're not going to make it through. That's fine, right? The purpose here is for long-term success. So, but maybe we can't change anything. We got to grit through it for 2 weeks. But then if you've set something up that's set up to fail, if I've set something up that really is just, it's not good training, it's not good, it's not a good system, we'll need to be able to refine it. But we should have a set date with which we can refine. So grit through 2 weeks, then on that Sunday we can refine. And then we'll have to put some rules in place that say, we can't maybe make this can't be easier for the sake of comfort or ease. It can be refined to make the system better, something like that. But that's just to give you an idea. So right now, what we've got, the only metrics we have is the gauge. I came up with the question, are you happy with your life's path? Are you happy with your life? Seriously, ask yourself this question. It's just something to take time with. But here's the thing. This one for me, I don't necessarily want personally to gauge this regularly. It's more for me a choice. Okay, because there's tons of things that I want to explore and do, and things that I'm not happy with, that I don't think I've done well with, that I could be hard on myself. But I don't think that's effective. So for this question, I actually think, am I happy with life's path? I think I'm going to put myself here all the fucking way. I'm full. And it's more of a choice. It's more ties into my philosophy, my personal choice on this is what I got, this is where I am, to remind myself to, forgive myself for not getting to where I wanted to get, or not doing the things that I wanted to do, or helping in the ways that I knew I could. So but to say I can still, but for me, this is a choice to be, am I happy with life's path? Yeah, because I get to be here, and it's not perfect, but I'm 100% happy with it. So I for right now, I think this is a good practice, that this question for me is, I can always be happier, but I am fully content with, I'm fully content with it. I'm a part of this crazy thing that I don't fully understand. I'm excited by trying to understand it. I'm excited by connecting with the people as they're, fighting to understand it. And that's all I can say, is that I'm at 100. I'm choosing to be at 100, even though I'm kind of not, if that makes sense. Those things can exist at the same time, that I'm still pushing and striving, but I am ultimately, it ties into my core belief, and I am happy. If you stripped everything away, every possibility, my body, my mind, everything away, I am content ultimately. Although, in other ways, on other planes, I'm not content. I'm not happy. It's not that I'm not happy. I want to strive. So that brings me to another. That's why I put this other question down. Am I operating at full potential? Now this one I think I can be. This one, I don't need to fucking bullshit myself here. I don't need to bullshit myself at all. This one, I am not operating at my full potential. Anywhere close. Anywhere fucking close. If you can resonate with this, then you don't need to sugarcoat this. Look at it objectively. So for me, am I operating at my full potential? Look, I think and these things can change, right? Nothing is fucking fixed. but you're going off of your feeling, but also objectively looking at your life. Am I all the way down here? No, that'd be ridiculous. You know, I'm definitely not. I've got some good stuff going for me. You know, I've done some things really well. So I'm definitely not down here. Do I feel like I am? Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I feel like I am, but I'm definitely not. Things would be I probably wouldn't even be in this room. I wouldn't be able to fucking have a camera if I was operating down there. Okay, am I mid? It's tough. It's a tough question. I don't know. Today, I'm gonna put myself like right there. You know, maybe even a little. I'm gonna give myself a lot of room to grow. But not so much that I'm like, you know, too beat down. All right, so that's just a little bit on gauges. I think those are important because it's like the minute I see this, you know, both of these things, they're gonna help me in my day-to-day. You know, if I'm like, just take a minute to fill myself with that feeling of like, it's a way to practice gratitude, I guess, to say happy with life's path. Yeah, I'm really lucky with a lot of things, and I am for the most part, I'm focusing on the things that I can enjoy. Am I operating at my full potential? No, but all right, let's focus on that, and that's what I'm doing here today. And it's like there have been many days where I haven't been able to do this, and I'm doing it now, and I want to do it tomorrow, and I want to do it the next day, and I want to do it the next day after that. How can I keep it going to where we get to the actions? You got to get to the actions. So, all right. I'm afraid to go into the beliefs, you know, but I think that that's where we need to go. So maybe let's do it. Let's get into this. All right. You know, I hope this is helpful for you. I want to make very clear. This is going to be different for everybody. And if you want to stop this right now and go and make your own, like spend some time, you know, write down what's your purpose, what's the meaning of your life, what could the meaning of your life be, what would make you enjoy this. You know, I'm looking forward to studying more philosophy, but you know, I know that there's I've heard a little bit about Camus, I think his name is, who absurdism. And he basically, his philosophy was like, life is completely absurd in so many ways, and maybe even meaningless, but it's not nihilism, it's absurdism. And that philosophy for him allowed him to enjoy life immensely. Maybe it took a certain kind of pressure off life, but that's fine. That's not really my, I don't think that's my belief. I'm gonna start getting into mine now, but if you wanna take the time to get into your own, if you wanna listen to mine and where I go with it, a lot of this I'm figuring out partially right now, and I'm gonna spend more time with it, but this is a big step. And I don't think you should spend too much time on this because we gotta get to the other stuff, particularly we gotta get to building our systems and creating habits. So, all right, let's go. Choose your why. All right, so. All right, let's go. Belief. philosophy. All right, sorry I have multiple ways of saying this, but I'm trying to encompass the thing that I think is important, which is beliefs, why, philosophy, reason for being. All right, here we go. So I think for me there is some where to start here. I think that what we are is contained. I've got a body. And all my thoughts right now, my words that I'm speaking, these thoughts that are firing in my brain, they are coming, they're contained, right? I can't know everything. I can only know what I've experienced in my life and what I'm seeing around me right now. I can only process that, and there is more contained than just me. So I haven't had access to everything. So I can't, I'm contained. And if I think of anything I think of, there's always a container. Within my body, there are things that are contained that sort of live. There's good bacteria in your body. There's all kinds of life that lives separately in a contained way, from the small to the vast, and we don't even know how vast. So if you keep going, everything's just contained, though. The only thing I can think of, I mean, the Earth is a thing that's contained in its matter. This solar system, you just keep going further and further out. This universe, what's outside of this universe is probably more. So if I think of everything like that then it takes me to this idea of infinity. So what happens when like, to me as a human, it's very natural to think of things in a contained way. Time is even, very specific and in a certain contained linear fashion. So I get very quickly when I ask myself, like, why this? Why me? Why this? Why do anything? I go straight to this, like, larger picture outside of anything contained, and and it's very hard for my brain to understand that idea because I'm contained, right? If I had access to everything that is or ever was, I still think of it as a contained thing. I still go, oh, it's just this massively large thing, and then I think of some circle, and I'm like, I've got the whole circle. But that's not infinity, because that's even, I can't even really fathom infinity. I'm still thinking of it as just something even more massive. So if I were to break out of that, somehow that's where this concept for me is, like, I'm just curious about that. And so, I'm going to start with the idea. So these are just mine. So the idea of infinity. The idea of infinity. So that's something that I just, I'd like to feel it too. But I can't. That's much harder for me. So that idea is one thing that makes me curious. I think there's something to it, I think that there's, I've heard some things that resonate with me, like imagine there is the infinite, like God, or whatever your belief is, right? It doesn't, it can be the universe, it can be God, it can be however you want to define it. But, imagine there is a consciousness that is totally infinite and all encompassing. There is no limitations. It's just everything. Then wouldn't it be possible that it's then branching off within to experience itself? And that makes some sense to me. But again, it's logical and it's not as much a feeling. And for me, I'd love to, for some reason, and I don't know why, because this doesn't make as much logical sense, but I would like to marry those two. So that's something I'm going to write down. Would like to find a feeling for infinity. I'd like to find a feeling for this idea for some reason. And I think that ties into another part of my belief system as it stands right now. And I think what I think is also important in these kinds of things is as you go, you've got to refine your belief system, your reason for being. You've got to examine it. When we build our systems, this is one of the things that when I build my system, you can do whatever you want. I think I want to build a system that at least yearly examines this in depth. I mean, I think for me, inevitably, another thing just on that note is change. I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I think change is also, fundamental to my journey in this, as this human. But I think tying into, this desire for me that I've not really thought about much before until now is really, I think I have this desire to feel, not just think, so I do want those to match. And maybe we'll find some ways, some habits to get into that can help that process. But that is, feel. Yeah. Because I think, so I think for me, there is a sort of like desire for something deeper than just, things firing. I want it, there is a desire for, I would love if somehow there was, spirituality tied to things. I think it makes, it seems very possible that this existence, there's a lot that we don't see and understand, and there could be whole other intelligences. I mean, I know it sounds out there, but I mean, like think about lower life forms than humans, right? My daughter for a while had a goldfish for many years in her room until my cat took it out, but which is a whole nother story. But think about a goldfish, right? It exists. This particular goldfish existed in my daughter's room in a little bowl for years and years and years and years, and its only consciousness is, within that bowl. It's not possible for it to understand the other consciousnesses around, like me in the house, and it doesn't even know it's on the third floor or, the second floor of a house. It's it doesn't, it's not able to understand that. So if you, and then there's other animals, there's other life forms that already exist that, they're a step up, and can understand maybe even in a limited way, like maybe your dog, that it is on the second floor when it's on the second floor. And we're a big jump from those other life forms, but why should we just assume that we are it? We're the top. There's no other life forms that are ever above us. And it would very much make sense to me if you evolved past a certain point that you wouldn't really want to use a body, right? Like, imagine humans in 50 years, 100 years, 200 years with technology. Eventually, the technology is going to be like, first it's going to take us to the choice of, do we want to go into robots, right? Here's a robot that, like, we can put your brain in the robot, and you're gonna feel amazing. If you're old, you're gonna get to move your body like in an incredible way, like you've never felt before. You're gonna be able to run as fast as any human ever, or you're gonna be able to lift whatever. Think clearly, everything's gonna feel great. Would you not take that? I mean, this gets into deeper questions for sure, and maybe you wouldn't, but okay, then let's say some people do that. Okay, then what's the next step? Another 100 years after that. Hey, well, we have a way to transmute all the information in your body and everything you think and feel through this matter that can change itself. It's actually adaptive, and so you can move out of this robot and your matter, but then you can shift into any form of matter that you choose. And then from there, what's the next? Like, these things don't sound super far off. I notice some of you are going to be like, this is fucking crazy. But it just, it doesn't sound that far off. Like, you can see this trajectory. So if you keep taking that down, well, you probably wouldn't, if you're a conscious being and you've evolved to a certain point, you're probably going to travel through, like, I don't know, light or something. Or something that's not visible, or something that someone at our level of consciousness, in our container, wouldn't be able to even understand or see. We wouldn't even be able to see it. Okay, so with that, I'm just laying out my case for part of what I like to think about, because when I think about this, I do want it as part of my overarching bigger picture philosophy of, like, there may be things out there that we can't comprehend. There may be intelligence out there that we cannot comprehend. This is just part of my personal belief. And why does it excite me? Because it excites me because what I'm trying to do with this belief is then eventually tie it into, what do I want? How do I want to live my life? And thinking about these things gives me energy, but it also, I should pick things to do that actually allows me to think about these things more, or to share them more, or whatever, or to do some stuff. I don't know exactly, but it is something that really excites me. Part of my bigger belief picture is really like something to do with the concept of infinity. Could there be intelligence out there far greater than ours? I think absolutely. I think that takes me to, maybe even thinking about, God or gods kind of thing. And I think that takes me to, yes, that's a very big possibility for me, and something I'd like to explore. And it takes me to, the next step that it takes me to is really thinking about who I want to be. And this will tie into, what do we want, or what do I want, and who do I want to be? Because it's like, for me, part of my belief system that it's taken me, subconscious belief system is, I've definitely noticed character traits that people have throughout their lives, and those can change. But I think that there are certain emotions, and they mainly deal with emotions that I'm really interested in, that I think are also, like could somehow be tied to consciousness somehow, that it's not just hard numbers, that feeling and emotions is, I know that, it's part of what makes life enjoyable, when you feel and you have emotions. What would be the point if we're just hitting hard numbers? This plus this is this. And, so I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna write this down. Emotions. Okay, emotions. I think we're like onto something a little bit here. Tapping into, for me, I'm onto something. It's like emotions I'm interested in because I think they fuel you. I think that you have some control over them. You can put yourself in situations that garner certain emotions, or that are going to put you in a higher realm of probability of experiencing certain emotions. So I think you can do something about that. I think it ties into everything that we're talking about. I don't know about you, but if I have the whole list of emotions, am I going to choose to feel, anger, or am I going to choose to feel like awesome? I'm going to choose to feel awesome. So I want to do the things that put me in that feeling and generate that kind of energy, which to me, emotion, energy, motion, energy. And, from what we were talking about yesterday, you need energy, right? Masses of energy. Like, this is going to be a theme, like, seems to be a theme already for me, just finding this, is like energy, right? We can do all this and just chip away, but like, if we don't have the underlying drive, we're not going to get very far. But consciousness. These things tie into each other, and so I have to distill this down right now. Right now, it's infinity. It's infinity. It's larger consciousness. There's many layers that I can't get through to get to infinity, right? So we're going to have to get through them somehow. Okay, step by step. All right, so we got to get through the layers. We got to get to infinity. Or I got to get to infinity. I got to get through the layers. I got to get to infinity. I need a lot of energy to do that. Okay, so this is it. This is where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to get to infinity. All right? Trying to get to infinity. I'm trying to figure out what that is. That's why I'm here. There's probably many different forms of that. There's probably many different names to infinity. Love, God, maybe. I'm trying to get there. Okay? There's something for me to do with feeling to get there. I have goosebumps on my arm. Why? When I say that. So, emotions, consciousness, energy, infinity. Okay, so I think this is a very, very fucking broad. This is so broad, right? I'm trying to get to infinity. Maybe infinity is trying to get to us. I'm trying to get to infinity, okay? So the only way I can do that is I've got some energy. I've got to keep that energy going. I've got to use my consciousness and push it. I've got to feel along the way, feel emotions. I have a choice. 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 Energy. Choice. I can choose to try to generate the emotions that are going to give me energy that will expand my consciousness. Okay. I can choose. You spelled choose C-H-O-O-S-E or C-H-O-S-E? I can choose the emotions that fuel my energy and expand my consciousness. C-O-N-S-C-I-O-U-S-N-E-S-S. I can choose the emotions that fuel my energy and expand my consciousness. Okay, so I think this is my why. For now, I want to maximize, I want to choose emotions. I want to maximize those emotions that I choose through the actions that I take and all this stuff that we're doing. I want those emotions to fuel my energy that then expands my consciousness and enables me to feel more, ultimately give more, help more. I think what this is needs to be defined. So this has got to continue, because it's like, you could choose. I mean, this is what, all the stories that we write about are about. This is like the light and the dark, It's like I could choose a path that, I could feel myself. Sometimes I'm so pissed that I have a lot of energy, right? I'm like pissed at myself or pissed at whatever, and it fuels me, right? So I can use different kinds of emotions. So I'm going to have to choose those, and experiment with like how I'm fueled. I'm going to go for the ones again that make me feel great. Like I don't have, me personally, I want to choose the good emotions. So, all right. So we have more work to do. I have more work to do. All right. Okay, so I need to write this out. Define the above. What emotions and why? What emotions and why? So why? Why do I want to choose the good emotions? Why not just whatever gives me energy? Those are the questions that I need to ask, and we got to go deeper. Remember, if we really want to build a foundation, there is going to be a point where we need to get to the next step, and we can come back to this. And maybe this will be enough right now to really like get and encapsulate something. I want to find something, and I'm not sure why. I want to be real about this. Like if I say like, oh, I want to do this because I want to help others learn this. Is that really true? I mean, I can choose to think that's true, but again, I want to feel it, because I need to make it as real as possible. I want it to be as true as possible, because I think, one, if it really is just, no, I'm being selfish and I just want to grow my own consciousness and I want to explore as much as I want to explore, and I need to really find, but for me, it's like I want to connect with others. So, as I say that, I'm like, no, I want to go. I'm pumped. I'm like, I want to go. I want to run. I want to be exploring and doing and seeing and finding and achieving, but I want others running beside me, and that fills me. I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. Let's go. And I want to see others achieving things, and that does fill me. That does fill me. Help others achieve. I think this is big for me, actually. I wanted to make sure it was true, but it's like, I really just felt it. It's like, if we were just alone, if you're just by yourself, moving through this, that would kind of suck. But if there's others experiencing it and pushing you, and you learn from them, there's creativity there, there's connection there, there's real joy there, there's like fun. I think that the other thing for me personally is fun. I wanna laugh at myself. I'm sure there's some people that are probably going to make fun of this, you know. I want to be able to look at it if somebody goes, what the fuck is this crazy dude doing? Like, what the fuck is he doing? And like maybe making fun of me seriously. And I want to be able to look at that and really, I don't know, just not take myself too seriously. Because this is, you know, this could feel like serious stuff, but on another level, I'm really like, I really want to move through this existence with a lot of fun and connecting that fun with other people, just being able to look at somebody else and laugh together, you know, is really important to me. Oh, I'm running out of room here. But I think for me, the fun, connection, I mean, how great is it to just laugh with somebody? Like, it's just one of the best feelings. There are other really good feelings, which, you know, I can't wait to get into. Because we're going to use those. But, like, that's where it's at. The fun connection. I got to remember that. All right. Guys, we're done today. Let's keep going. This is day 2. How can we keep this going? How can we keep the energy going? This has energized me already, just doing this. I feel like I felt the resistance when I came in. I felt the resistance in the car. I was like, I had the thoughts of, I've got other stuff to do. I've got business to attend to. I got my kids that need me today. I got a lot of stuff to do. But getting this in has been awesome. Thank you. If you're still listening to this, holy fucking shit. Thank you. I can't wait to keep going. I hope you feel the same way. If you're here, fucking A, if you're here, holy shit. And like, just think about all the things that can be done. All the fun that can be had. Like, oh, let's go. I got goosebumps again. Fuck yeah. Let's go. Until next time. See ya.